Welcome to another Monday live stream. How are you? Today I'm going to be continuing this amazing design by my friend Sandro Caluso. I just love the face shapes in this design, so I decided I'd model this guy up. And I have my music way too loud. Okay. So hopefully people can... Hey, how's it going, Neil? Welcome, welcome. Okay, I think we're good to go. So this is where we left off last Monday. And I thought I'd just continue. So here we go. How's the sound, Neil? Everything good? Hey, Tom, how you doing? Okay, I feel I kind of want to start getting his teeth and stuff in there, and I was thinking about actually blocking out his brows. I don't do that very often, but this guy has such prominent, specific brows that I wanted to possibly block them out. And I wanted to show people that you can continue to block out shapes as much as you want. There's no rules. No rules. It's just whatever you need to get you there. That's the rule. How are you guys doing? What is happening today? What's new? Neil, I'm listening to Blue Monday by New Order. It's a good song. I can and shall obey. Javier, hello. Get my mic out of the way. It's like, what in the world is behind me? My camera's kind of pushed a little bit facing behind me today, which it looks like I bumped it or something accidentally. I'm cleaning out my office. I have so much crap in here. Decided to clean it out. Thanks, Neil. Yes, if you'd like, I give away all these brushes on my website for free. If you want to check those out. Bala, I agree. Hey, Joanne. How are you? Okay, so this one. Yeah, the reason I wanted to block out his brows is because, well, specifically, I wanted to get that eyelid meat wrapping around through there. Are you going to sculpt them in their postures, or are you going to pose them after you sculpt? JB, I'm probably going. I usually just do a T pose. I hardly ever sculpt in pose. So I'll probably T pose them first. And I love this Accu-curve. It's my new favorite thing. Hey, Charlie. I'm well, thank you. Hello, Nicolay. Do I have an art station? I do. It's just, well, Neil, I don't know if you can you post on, oh, that's Twitch. Yeah, so it's Shane Olson on ArtStation, but Neil, my good friend bot Neil, is an actual real person, not a bot. Hey Graham, I'm doing well, thanks. There you go. Thank you, Neil. Yes, you are welcome. Okay. So Accu-curve just allows me, if I wanted to be snarky, I would say be more accurate, but that's not really the case. It's, it helps me be more pointy. So you can see I can drag this out to more of a point because his brows are very pointy. possible, it will be great to see you approach when sculpting. This is not too much unlike a goblin, and I've sculpted goblins in the past, but it's the same. Honestly, it's when people say, can you sculpt this or sculpt that? It's essentially the same thing to me. It doesn't really matter too much what you're sculpting, in my opinion. Oh, you've already followed me on ArtStation? All right. Nicolay, it is a cartoon character. I sculpt, that's my thing. I love to sculpt stylized characters, cartoony characters, whatever you want to call them. It's my thing. It's my jam. I worked for Disney for 10 years. So it's kind of Disney Interactive. So it's kind of it's in my DNA about now. State your case in black or white. What song is that, Neil? Iron? Yeah, sure you can. Just put it up and then replace it as you go. Yeah, I'm liking that. So, see how this geometry is getting stretched? I can easily ZRemesh this at a very low resolution. So I'm going to do that. I just have so if you do decide to get my brushes from 3dcharacterworkshop.com, it comes with my user interface, which is what you're seeing now. And my user interface comes with a custom menu, which is what this is. And basically, this is like a specifically selected menu that I've put together by pulling out pieces from the tool list. So this tool list right here can get very, very long, and you're digging down in there a lot, and I'd prefer not to, so I like to bring everything I use often out to the front. So, hey, Mike, how you doing? Learned so much? Thanks. I hope so. Okay, so now what I can do is see this target polygon count. I just like to crank that down to the lowest it'll go when I'm working this low. And I'm going to turn on keep groups because I want to keep the groups, and hit ZRemesher. Do these characters have names? I don't know if, so these are Sandro Clouseau designs. And Sandro also worked for Disney. He's done Disney work in the past, and he worked on Klaus, you know, the Klaus movie, Christmas movie. And he does a lot of these character designs in very Disney-esque style. Hey JD, I'm feeling awesome, thanks. How are you? Okay, so now you can see that the geometry is no longer stretched. And I can also, you can see the white, you can see some of the polygons, and it's just, if you want that a little bit smoother, this is a preview. The real mesh looks like this. It's not crazy high resolution, right? It looks pretty clean. But when you turn this off, you can see the facets in the polygons, because that's one, I kind of wish ZBrush would show edges as smooth, but I know why they don't, and it's just fine. So what I can do is increase the amount of smoothness that this will give you. And basically where you find that is under geometry, dynamic subdivisions, and then you can see it says smooth subdivision levels. So this is showing you a preview of the mesh as if it's been divided twice. Okay, it's just a preview. It's not real. It's just a preview. So you can crank this up, but you got to be careful if you don't have a big machine and you start to crank this up, then your machine will slow down. Okay, so just be wary of that. But you can crank this up to like a 4, and now see how smooth it is? And it's still not being subdivided for real. So, hey, Deja Vu, how are you? Okay, does that make sense? And you can do that with all of these pieces that you can see facets on. This one's pretty good. But this piece right here, you can kind of see the facets down right here. So you can crank that up to like 3 or 4. Yeah, so yeah, no names for this personal project. This is a personal project of Sandro's, so I can reach out and ask him. He might have made names for these guys, but I'm not sure. You can see his eyes hanging down through his inner mouth. Hey, Best. Thanks for the encouragement. Okay, so see how I blocked in these brows, and they're just, and that's not even the eyebrow itself. That's just the brow, like part of the skull and the skin and the muscle underneath, and it's not even representing the hair yet. That'll be on top of that. So this polygons was made with ZRemesher only. Nicolay, if you want to see exactly how I made this, I'm just a volunteer on Pixologic's Twitch channel, and it also goes out to YouTube and Facebook. But they are recording this and they put it up on YouTube. So if you want to watch last week's episode, you can watch exactly what I did to build this guy. Okay. But yes, it's kind of like it's polygons that have been stretched and then Z-remeshed. So just what I did with these brows, I did it with the entire head essentially. So I'm going to crank this up one more. I really should put this smooth subdiv on my interface because I like it. Okay. Hi from Turkey. Hey, Aaron, how are you? I have friends in Turkey. I want to visit sometime. I would love to visit. Okay. Turn on local symmetry. So if you watch what I do with this little, see this ear nub? I'm blocking it out because I made Paul DC laugh because I called it an ear nubbin. I call things not what they're really called in real life. I call them so my students, I name them so my students will remember. Remember the wrong names, but at least they'll remember them. I just decided, you know what? I'm not a doctor. And I'm making stylized characters. And it's better to memorize things with humor than it is trying to memorize something that you'll never remember. Is there a link to that, Neil? To my old last week's stream. Sorry to make you run around today. Huge shout out for Neil, by the way. Thank you, Neil. He's so great with posting links while I stream and super help. Yes, Cartoon Anatomy. Speaking of Cartoon Anatomy, I've been working on, so I teach a workshop. It's called the 3D Character Workshop. You can find it on 3dcharacterworkshop.com. And I'm just releasing 2.0 really soon. My goal is before the end of the year, and sooner if possible. And I have the updates I've been doing are weekly challenges. I've been, instead of doing them, you know, the traditional module way, I've been doing them weekly challenge way, which I really like, and so do the students, because it kind of gives them miniature milestones to do. And the first milestone for the first week is to block out a Saturday morning cartoon character. So you can learn how to block out characters inside of ZBrush. But the second week is all about stylized anatomy. And I can show you a preview of that if you'd like to see it. Let's see. So I'm pretty proud of how that one turned out. Okay. And I do them in the style of these live streams because students tend to like these live streams. I gotta put it like this. And then go back to OBS and turn this off for a second. Okay, can you guys see this? Okay, so I just want to show you a little preview like this one. Let me mute it. So I go through and I talk about just the different muscle groups, how to do the muscles in like the arms, and how to block out a torso at a very simple level like this, and then how to go in and add muscles on top of that if you want to take it that complex. You don't have to, but it's just something to think about. I talk about like feet and how to do it simply, and the difference between male and female anatomy, stuff like that. So if you're interested in learning about stylized anatomy, it's a weekly challenge in the course, and I'm super proud of it, so I wanted to show it off. Okay. Okay. Surash, I'm good, thank you. Okay. Let's get back to this guy. And I kind of want to block out. Yeah, his jaw is pretty broken, honestly, like that. Just kind of being this down and kicked out so far that way. Yeah, I'll have to kind of figure out anatomically how it works. Plus, his neck is coming off of the back of his head, which isn't really how necks work. But you need to know the rules in order to break them, right? Okay. So I'm gonna block out this little curly hair here. Now I'm gonna try something before I do, though. Yeah, I'm gonna try something. What's with this center mesh in between the eyebrows? This little thing right here? It's just part of his furrowed brow. Eventually, I will smooth it all in so you won't see it have such hard lines. And then it'll just go away. As far as like, right now it kind of looks like armor or some kind of crown or headpiece, but that will be integrated and go away. So I'm just blocking it out right now. Just like this piece right here. I mean, it has these really sharp edges to it. Eventually I'll blend everything together and all those sharp lines will go away. Oh, hey, Ashley's in the house. How's it going, Ash? It's going well, thank you. How are you? I heard one of my students was, well, I should probably talk about it offline, but they were working with you and they liked working with you. So I thought I'd let you know. I don't know if you knew that he was, but okay. So one thing I want to try with this beard. Yeah. Okay, awesome. I didn't know. Yeah, Mike's great. Okay. Hey there. Welcome. Okay, so this, I'm thinking about, I want to kind of put some of these, I want to work some of these hairs in while it's straight, and then do an arc curve, and then, so I can curl it up like this after the fact. So I'm going to try and do that here. That's just my thinking. We'll see if it works. So I want to make stylized characters in ZBrush, so it's important to learn anatomy? Yes, it is. It's important to learn structure and how things work and how things like muscle groups and things, relationships to one another and how they they tuck in, like how face structures work, like knowing that this muscle goes across and connects into the nose and goes down here. People think that just because it's a stylized character, that it's simple and you don't need to know all that stuff, which is completely false. It only helps. Hello, Ignacio. I don't know if that's how you say your name. Oh, hey, hey, babies. I saw your previous post. Hello. Okay, so I'm just going to smooth this down. Hello from Colombia. Welcome to the stream. Actually, I'm going to say it again. My favorite new thing is Accu-curve. That is the bee's knees right there. It's like I can turn any brush into a, do I dare say it, snake hook brush. I love it. Accu-crack. Sell that in a bottle. Oh, that's funny. But seriously, it is the thing. Are there any new features being discussed? Well, I just talked about Accu-curve, or as Ashley lovingly put it, Accu-crack. I love that. And basically all that does is turns the brush fall off into a peak that is, so a regular brush, you can kind of, the fall off peak is just a big round peak like this. But if you change it to Accu-curve, that just changes the fall off to something like this. So in my horrible drawing. So when you go to drag it or do something with it, it turns the fall off to a very sharp point. That's how I drug this tip of this beard out. Let's see. Lots of good comments today. And I have about half my crowd because the other half will probably show up in 30 minutes when my quote unquote what is it called, daylight savings time kicks in, right? Because we had daylight savings and that's why I'm streaming now. Let's see. I need to make a small statuette as decor for a bigger piece, which is going to be used in concepts. Do you think it would be better to sculpt it out in primitives like you're doing, or just a dynamesh and sculpt it in one lump as if it were a piece of marble? My personal preference is, everybody, well, there's a lot of my longtime viewers know, I'm a big, huge proponent of blocking out characters with primitive shapes. And I don't want to say I quote unquote invented it, because I didn't, but I was the first to kind of adopt it and share it with the world. I learned it from Preston Blair, like an old 2D animation cartoon guy. And I just thought to myself one day, I wonder if this would work in 3D, and lo and behold, it did. And so, yeah, there you go. So yes, block out. But there's nothing wrong with the dynamesh method either. Dynameshing to me is more about experimentation. Like you're trying to experiment and kind of find shapes. That's what A-cubed Ashley, that's what she loves to do during her live streams, is she loves to experiment and just explore and find the shapes. She does these amazing, amazing creatures. And she streams on Wednesday nights. You can check her out over there. Well, this same channel, Wednesday nights. You just make a mess, and yeah, and then polish it into perfection. But yeah, but there is something to be said about making a mess, right? So it's kind of like those exercises where you just have an instructor or someone, or even yourself, draw a scribble on a page, right? And then it gets your imagination going and you make something out of that scribble. That's almost the same mentality, the experimentation. It's like, let's just rip out some shapes and then kind of see what happens with that, what percolates to the surface, right? Thanks, Neil. Okay. which Ashley, I love that way of doing things, and I need to try it sometime. I just don't have enough faith in myself as far as my my bug and creature anatomy knowledge like you do to pull that off. But I'd like to try it sometime. I should. Do most character creators know how to work in 3D sculpting software? I would say no. Are you talking about character creators like for games or film or what? Like character designers design in 2D usually. Some of them do 3D, but not most often. But there's a lot of character sculptors that know. You know what? I think I'm going to point this kind of at an angle down instead of straight out. I don't know what I'm doing here. What am I doing? In games and 3D animation, you know, it's surprisingly not a ton use ZBrush in their pipeline. There are quite a few, don't get me wrong, but not as many as you would think. Because there's a lot of people that have been in the industry a long time, like myself, that I used to use Maya and 3D Studio Max and those other programs like that, and there's a lot of game developers that still just kind of stick to that and not get into ZBrush. Hey Katri, welcome. Just treat it like you're sketching, if I could talk. No constraints or expectations, and it'll be badass. Yes, I agree. I just need to do it, right? It's that whole fear of the unknown. Okay, now since this is an experiment, what I'm going to do is, speaking of experimentation, is duplicate this and hide the original. Save as devil. If I missed your question, please post it again. The chat's going by pretty quick today. Yarzar, I love your name. Hello, welcome to the stream. Hey, what's up, Shane? How's it going? I'll never get over saying my name. Hi, Shane. All right, my former school teacher who is now retired and does amazing illustrations does that. He starts with silhouette and just waits for serendipity. That would be a great t-shirt saying waiting for serendipity. Oh man. Okay. All right, so yeah, I just wanted to kind of put this down. I want to even bend it more on an angle down. Further. I'm going to switch over to the transpose line for this though. I don't know why. Sometimes I miss the transpose line. Poor Gizmo. Yeah, I'll just have to straighten it out. I think it's really amazing how clean your blocking face can be with basic shapes like you do. Oh, thanks, Felipe. Thank you. I just scored an internship at AAA Studio. Any tips for me to make it a permanent gig? My tip is don't be an hole and you'll be just fine. That's the biggest thing that everybody overlooks, okay? Don't be a jerk to people. Be the nicest person you can be. Don't be a suck up either, but just be a helpful friend. That is the biggest piece of advice I can give you. Because obviously, if you got an internship, you have the talent, right? But just that's the second half that not a lot of people talk about. Just be a pleasant person to work with, okay? That's the biggest. That's how you fit into a team of people, right? That is the best. Yeah, that's the best advice I can give you, to be honest. Okay, I'm going to try and ZRemesh this. See what it gives me. Oh, it's too high. Okay. Right, Cricket. So, I mean, that's the same with any job. Um, but okay, beyond that part, okay, beyond just making beyond just being a nice person, okay? The second part is put yourself in the eyes of the art director, the um the character designer, right? The concept designer. Put yourself in their shoes, and also put yourself in the shoes of the people that you're directly working with, like the other character artists, okay? What do they really want from you as a person besides, you know, just being a friendly person to work with? Is they all have a job to do, and they're all trying to fill a role. They're all trying to create characters for this product, right? So whatever you can do as a helper, if you think yourself as a helper, not an employee, right? You're trying to help them out as best as you can, whatever it takes to be that helpful person. Don't be the person that's sitting at your desk waiting to be told what to do. That's probably the kind of the worst thing. You're just like, just be that. How can I help you? What can I do to offer or lend a hand to help you get your job done easier or relieve you of some of the pain of this burden that you have of creating these characters, okay? So that's part one. And the second part is, again, don't be an asshole. I didn't beat myself out good enough on that one. All right, yep, bring 5 good new dad jokes to offer every week. That's it. That's the third part. Okay. Anyway, there you go. That's my advice for getting a full-time paying gig at a studio. There we go. It's like this looks like a carrot nose for a snowman. Snow's coming. Winter's coming. Okay. So now that I have that, I actually like this one better than my old one that I duplicated. So I'm going to duplicate this again. I'm going to get it to wrap around the chin better. Okay. All right, let's go delete this and duplicate. Tom, that's good advice too. You know, yeah, so Ashley's saying, honestly, you'd be surprised at how many people just enjoy having a smiley, upbeat person around, especially during tight deadlines. Yes, there's so much value in just that alone, right? You get through life much easier with a smile than with a frown. Yeah, if you just come and start complaining about management or your coworkers or just the long hours, if you just start to be like that complainer person, you're going to be the first one to be let go, right? You don't want to be that person. You want, like I said, you want to be helpful, energetic, upbeat, and yeah, that's it. That's it. That's what they want you there for. You have to think about it that way, right? It's not some I don't know. I think people tend to overthink things really easily. Um, and also don't take critique personally. Okay? So again, you're in a professional environment and they're asking you to make these products as a professional, right? And try and get to the goal of making the character for this product the best it can be. And that takes a big team effort. A lot of people are like, I'm this artist and I'm putting my personal twist on everything and I need to make, it's not fine art. This is not a gallery. It's you're working together to get the thing done and get it done to the best of your abilities in the time that you have available. That's the goal of the whole entire team. So if you can work together with people better and not complain about it, then you're going to be valued as an employee. So yeah, my vision. I want it to look like how I want it to look. No, 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 no. That's not going to get you anywhere. I want to put my own personal twist on it. You're going to twist yourself out the door. Sorry. Yep. So especially when you're art director, well, use the chain of command, right? So it'll be your coworkers. If you can say, hey, what do you think of this? To your coworkers first. Or even just your friends first, that if you can show it to anybody outside of the studio. But your coworkers first, hey, what do you think of this? Is it even near on being on track or whatever? You can get some feedback from them first, so you're not spending too much time bothering the people further up the chain of command, right? And then when it's time on certain milestones, then you'll be like, okay, I need to get some feedback from the concept artist or the art director, and that's when you go ask them for feedback. And they could have specific feedback times, like once a week or once every day, or who knows, whatever the studio has set up. But you don't want to be that person that's like, how about now? How about now? How about now? How about now? Like I made this little, like me working on this beard, right? It's like, okay, if you got some feedback to, tweak something, and you go back and you're like, how about now? How about now? It's just going to drive them crazy. Only show them on large milestones, so they waste their time a lot less. Okay? Like, it's good to ask why from your ADs though, like your art directors, yeah. If you don't understand notes or the direction, and there's nothing wrong with inputting suggestions, but at the end of the day, if your art director says red line, then it's a red line. So what Ashley's talking about is, if you submit your work and the art director says this nose needs to be longer, and then you go back and look at the concept and it's shorter, but the art director says no, make it longer, you make it longer, because you're always moving forward. You're moving ahead, not looking back, okay? So again, as a team, it's like you're all pushing this rock up a hill all together. It's not you against the person next to you. You're all doing it together as a team. So, and then you have your art director, who is the guy calling the shots. So he's like, push, and you push, okay? So that's essentially how it works. Okay, so sorry, yapping a lot today, which is good. Love the questions. And thanks for the input. Push the rock. Actually, we need to do a collab shop talk. I think it'd be fun, because I feel like you have the exact same experience and level of yeah, as I do. So it'd be really fun. All right. Let's see. So now that this is duplicated, what I was going to do is tessellate this. You'd have to get the bleep machine. Beep, beep, beep. Look at this. It's important that you saying that, Shane, because we tend to think of that we are going to put ourselves in the project. Yeah, it's way more of a team effort, way more than you think. And I had to learn that the hard way. And I regret like this super certain instance, because I'm usually that upbeat person. That's just my personality. And every time I get an employee review, that's usually the feedback I get, is they love how upbeat and invested I am. And so there is something to that. But there's this one time where I was working these incredibly long hours, and I was on my like 7th or 8th feedback session of, it's that meme that the art director's like, push it a little this way, push it a little that way, and you're just like, can I just, I'm wasting my time. I could be home with my family, blah, blah, blah. That's what's going through in my head. And this one time I snapped back at my art director, and I wish I wouldn't have, because as soon as I did that, then it caused a rift or a ripple between our relationship, even though it was or was not justified. It doesn't matter. As you just got to hold that stuff in and not be the a-hole, right? You just got to be willing to bend and just say, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. You know, no matter how distraught you are. So, yeah. And then in that instance, all you can do is apologize and, you know, kind of backpedal. But yeah, I wish I hadn't have done that. And so I had to learn the hard way. So I'm telling you now, don't do that. Okay. So now what I want to do is apply this dynamic subdivisions, delete the lower. Ooh, that is dense. And then crank this tessellation down a little bit. There we go. Is it possible to say that you've had enough of feedback but be polite? I would not recommend that, Hell Knight. I would not. I would just, the only instance I would say that it's okay to justify that's too much feedback, this is the one instance I would say. If you're in a salaried position at a company, I would say no. But if you are a freelance artist working for a company by the hour, or not by the hour, I should say, like say, hey, we want to pay you X amount of dollars to do this character, and their feedback just keeps coming, and it feels like you're never going to reach the end. You need to say, okay, you need to work into your contract that there will be, like, the typical thing is 1 or 2 feedback sessions after the initial submission, and then otherwise you're going to work yourself down to way too less per hour, right? You need to, like, and the feedback's never going to end, especially if your client can't make up their mind and they keep changing the designs of the characters midstream. I've ran into that several times. You're like, hey, I followed the original concept and I delivered on the original concept, and now you're changing the design. We're going to have to renegotiate the contract. So because this is a new design, this is essentially a new character, depending on how much work it would be to change it. So yeah, it's iterations versus feedback, if that makes sense. If, yeah, so yeah, and Ashley's like, and to expand on the salary position, if they're not paying you for overtime but asking for so much feedback, you're working overtime, then yeah, you want to speak up politely about that and push back. Yes. So those 2 instances, thank you, Ashley. Those are 2 great instances. Other than that, if you're not working overtime and you're getting all this feedback, who cares? You're still getting paid the same, and you just kind of do it. Okay. I need to work on my social skills. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, when I was doing stuff for Blizzard, I got sheets and sheets and sheets of feedback. Not saying that my characters needed the feedback, but they were trying to help me bring it into the Overwatch look and feel, and that was very, very complex. So I would get sheets of feedback, and you just say, okay, unless you have questions on any of it, you know, you ask them questions on to clarify, verify. But other than that, you just go, all right, and then you go back to work and you fix all the things. Okay. So what I'm trying to do here with this tessellation is I want to put these hair striations in this beard before I curve it. So I'm kind of doing it in reverse order that I normally do. I'm just kind of trying it out. Have you guys ever? Oh yeah, there's always going to be a toxic workplace, and that's a completely different beast. But that's like any workplace you ever work in. There's a possibility of there being toxicity, but that's a different animal altogether. Okay, so let's do let's see. Oops, B. All right, stroke, where are you? Let's see what that looks like. Okay. Let's see. Reply affirmative, task acquired. Yep. I get some shocking feedback where people design working on fully changes, but I got a thing in place where I get paid another full design. Yeah. As long as you got yourself covered, you're good. Can you give me a piece of advice? Actually, for me, ZBrush interface is hard for new users, and I lose my motivation after using it. I don't really know what to say about that because I guess I'm so used to the ZBrush interface. It's just a matter of getting used to it. It's more difficult to learn if you're coming from other software, I would say. Okay, what is going? Look at this. What's this? All right, fill hole. Close holes. I don't know what that little thing is. Okay, fixed. All right. So another thing you could do, and I've designed my user interface kind of, I'm halfway in between the original user interface and my updated things that I like to use on the interface. And I give it away for free if you want to go grab it. It's over on my website. You can see it above my head, 3dcharacterworkshop.com. Scroll down about halfway and you'll see these this blue area, and you can type your email in there and I'll give you my user interface and my brushes. I've set this up to be as user-friendly as I could possibly make it with all of the brushes that I use down here along the bottom. That's not typical. And a very minimal user interface. The top left and top across here, that is all standard user interface stuff that ships with ZBrush. And then I've added a few things down here, and then I've added a few things over here, and I've rearranged a few things over here, and then I've added a menu of my most often used items out of the tool menu. So then you don't have to be focused on a big giant menu of stuff. You can just focus on this. And that's it. So now that I have this menu up, I specifically designed this interface so I could slide my keyboard out of the way when I was using a Cintiq that had some buttons on the side anyway. And now I have this 3D connection that I'm trying to get used to using because it has a bunch of buttons on it. But if you have minimal buttons, you can slide your keyboard away, stick your Cintiq in your lap, or get comfortable on your desk without your keyboard being up in your face in the way. And that's why I designed this user interface to be specific for that use, where I could get that stuff out of the way. So if you want, you can grab my user interface and play with it and see if you feel like it works for you. But anyway, hope that helps. All right, how long it took you to model characters in Maya and the 3? It completely depends on the difficulty of the character. Man, I'm going to take a whole hour just to make this beard. But these are good questions, so keep them coming. Okay. So I can't really say how long it would take me. Okay. You know what? I think I'm going to try to use the orbs cracks instead. Maybe, what does 3 look like? That's too soft. So I'm using orbs cracks brushes because they give me this really nice crispy edge. There we go. Okay. Thanks. I did not work on Maya. I don't know. Yeah, I wish I did, but no, I didn't. I want to watch. I don't think I've even watched that movie yet. Looks great. Crispy hairs. Yeah, I kind of misunderstood as well. I thought he was asking me how long characters took me to model in Maya, like the software Maya. I'm not working in a studio right now. I do some freelance for some larger projects, but not at the moment. Yeah. Yep, I'm too busy teaching peeps, not peepies. That's not what I meant to say. Teaching peeps. Plebes. Is what you said. I don't know what I'd be teaching peepies. That's horrible. Yes, Freudian slip. What is that? Well, I actually am. My grandson is being potty trained right now. So essentially, that's what I'd be referring it to. uh, uh, was that you? No, it was not me. I did not work on Maya. Ashley, what was the name of that movie you worked on? Ashley worked on a movie. Just adding some asymmetry here. And I think I don't know if I like this look. I'm going to go back. Rewind. Blah, blah. It's really difficult to make hairs go to a point. I'll just say that. Which movie? the I want to say the Blender one. The TNT wizard in the tinfoil hat. No, it's the girl with the machine. Pet. Friend. I always mix it with 3D below. That's not the one. Next gen. Thank you. I didn't want to say Blender one because we're on a ZBrush channel, so I'm trying to avoid. Okay, I'm gonna try something else here. I'm just gonna try the the Damien standard brush and just go kind of crazy with it. Yeah. Maybe if I go the other way. How do you do this, Ashley? Teach me the way. You're totally in that club. You know it. How fast can I learn realistic character sculpting using ZBrush? I have no idea what the answer to that question. Well, first of all, I don't really do realistic characters. I make cartoony characters. I would watch the most recent Chris Costa presentation from the ZBrush Summit and look and see how he does realistic characters, and then kind of make a decision on how hard do you think that looks or would be to pull something off like that. But I know he's worked at it for years. Let's see, I'm just gonna kind of overlap some of these. Man, this is rough. Hairs. Do your best to ignore my head bobble. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, Ashley was one of the hosts for that one. That was great. I loved it. There we go. Yeah, Chris is just amazing with his, and he's like the master of HD geometry. Holy cow. me try and overlap some of these maybe. Yeah, that's what I want right there. Okay. I just did. I said Chris Costa, K-R-I-S space C-O-S-T-A. That's who you should look to for inspiration. And go watch his, I know there's a, I know there's a delay on YouTube. It's like a 20 or 30-second delay. So. There we go. That's the way. That's what I want. So I'm listening to some 80s tunes right now, and that's a surprise. And sometimes I listen to these old lyrics to these songs, and I'm just like, man, sometimes they just sang whatever they thought sounded good at the time, whether it made sense or not. And I'm listening to a song called When Smokey Sings. Oh my gosh, When Smokey Sings. I don't know how good this is looking, but why not sculpt the hair? Then we'll. So yeah, so I want to do a deformer on this, but I want to. I don't want to sculpt the hair if it's already curled up like this. So the idea was to sculpt all the hairs, the little hairs in the surface beforehand, and then twist it up into a twisty. Cargo, you got it. And Smokey Sings, I hear violins. I like how he sings, like he whisper sings. Is it too late to switch a career and start over with this if I'm 37? No, not at all. So, like Colonel Sanders started Kentucky Fried Chicken when he was like 67. And that's like a whole business. So, yeah, I say this, I think, on every stream. There's two best times that you can ever start to do something. The first time was when you were younger. Some day when you were younger. That's the first best time. The second best time, right now. That's it. Yeah, there's like a list of successful people and the ages they did the thing that they're known for. There's like some poster or something, inspirational music. There you go. How, Ashley, did you say how you do hairs? Like I see there's some of these that I really like. If I was actually taking my time, I'd do these one at a time and really, focus. Hey, somebody just bought my course. If you're in here watching right now, thank you so much. Welcome to the course. And I got to say, now is a fantastic time to join the course because 2.0 is almost out, and after which I will be increasing the price for going into next year. Thanks, Ashley. Ashley, you need to get a course going. If you ever want to, reach out. I'll talk to you about it. Okay, so there's some areas I'm not liking, of course, like this business down here. What the hell? Guess I can just refine some of this stuff. This is about the only time, actually this is about the only time I think I could use one of those weird fingerless gloves. You'll notice I don't wear one of those. And it's because it chokes my hand off and makes it cold. You stretch yourself out. We could do, well, we should talk about it later, but I was gonna say, I've done collaborations with other course creators, and if you're nervous, that helps a lot, because then you're not really focused on what you should be saying, and you're just focused on talking to someone. Okay, I'm okay with that. There's one little, hopefully when I get this curled, so I have the opposite problem, Saticus. I like that name. Those gloves, and maybe it's just a sizing thing. I need to try a bigger one, but the ones I've tried in the past, they've just choked my fingers and my whole hand, basically right here. It's just not big enough. I have big monkey hands and big monkey arms. Okay, so this is another reason I love Accu-curve. See where the hairs now all go into the head? Now I want to make it look like they're actually like growing from his skin. So I can just turn Accu-curve on my move brush and just start to pull these out like this. I'm a full-time wheelchair user. I do not use gloves for the same reason. It's hard to find a perfect fit. Oh, that would be rough, because it's like you're touching your wheel. It's like grabbing your shoe over and over and over again, right? Yeah, you gotta, dude, I would get some custom made if you can. Saticus, that's funny. Your skills clearly. That's funny, thank you. See, and I can push these in and pull these out, and that's just amazing to me. Before, oh, you have wicked calloused hands. Ah. Hey Tenchi, how you doing? So yeah, so Accu-curve, like I explained earlier in the stream, if you're just joining us, basically it changes the fall off of your brush to a peak rather than a curve. Hey James, how are you? I'm doing great, thanks. See, look at this. Oh, that's so awesome. Before I would have to use snake hook, and snake hook can, sorry Ashley, it can get a little wildly. What would you say? Unwieldy? That's better. Okay. It's not as, so it's new. It's new. So you find it under, here, let me hide this. Did you know that you can hold control over any button inside of ZBrush, and it will give you this little tooltip that pops up. And if you'll notice on the bottom of the tooltip, it will show you where the button path is to find that object. So you could go get my user interface right now from 3D Character Workshop if you'd like, and hover over these buttons to find out where they're actually located. Now, I need to update my user interface because Accu-curve is new, and I'm actually going to be putting the new knife brush down here to replace the trim cut brush. So I'll be updating my user interface soon. But if you want to know where the button path is to anything, you can see it says brush, curve, Accu-curve. So how you find that is to go to brush, curve, Accu-curve. So I think it's new, maybe two point releases ago. It's really new. So it's basically this right here, and you can change that fall off curve right here, edit curve. I never do. I always leave it peaked, because this is the curve. If you think about this as being half of the curve of the brush for Accu-curve, that's what it is. It's basically just replacing your brush curve with a temporary something else. Okay, so rather than going from a brush curve of something like, like this, it changes it to a curve of this. That's it. That's what Accu-curve does. Okay. Hey, what's up, Mike? How you doing? Yay, Mike. I'm so glad you stopped by. I haven't seen you forever. Oh, hey, is Angry Monday in here too? Awesome. I am doing well. Thank you. I went and lost myself a bunch of weight, eating veggies like an adult. Weird. Laying off the salt and sugar and oil. I don't know how anybody could do that. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, but I did it. And I lost, like, at my lowest, I'm back up again a little bit, but at my lowest, I lost like 75 pounds. Curly shirt. Actually, went a little too silly with him. Try hard first couple, but I'm showing nice. You're still you? Don't change, dude. Don't change. So Mike is a, I dare say, old friend of mine from back in the day. And you're an oak, my friend. Meaning he's one of the, dude, I'm gonna say you're one of the strongest people I know. I'm just gonna throw that out there right now. So at one point, I don't know how long ago, Mike, it's been, but how long has it been since you tossed cabers? So Mike's one of those dudes that can toss a tree. that just decided one day, you know what? That tree looks like it needs to be thrown. Still eat cheese. I've cut milk and meat out for almost a year now. Yay! That's awesome, Ashley. But yeah, cheese and milk. Ooh. Ooh. So many bad things. I'm not going to get into it, but you're strong, but smell isn't everything. That is a dad joke if I've ever heard one. Use the rake tool? No. That would give me way too... It's not... Yeah, it's not controllable enough, I think. So, but I'm glad you're doing good, Mike. You still drive a Mini? Dude, I've been wanting one of those. My wife's like, but if you get in a wreck, you die. I don't care. I'd die in style. Love the design of those things. The hardest thing for me is salt. I really like salts, and I like salt in things. And I don't want to get into a why salt is good or bad debate, but I've just decided not to eat it as much as I can. You know, I like both. I like both old and new. But the olds are super difficult to find. And when you do, they usually look like an old shoe. A little teeny tiny baby old shoe. But cute as hell. Let's zoom out to see what this looks like. I like what I've done over here more than what's going on over here. Your first car was an old style Mini? That's awesome, Neil. But you have more access to them because you're in Europe, yeah? See, in the US, they're few and far between. Because they don't want them on the road with all the ginormous trucks that are here in the US. Because they would just get stomped on like a grape. You wait. My Mini got destroyed along with 6 other vehicles parked at the shop. Some kid ran a stop sign where my mechanic is, unfortunately positioned directly at the... Oh, dude. I'm sorry. That sucks. Oh, that sucks. I had a T-junction. Oh, dude. Are you going to get another one, or are you going to move on from minis? Dude, that's like losing a pet. Yeah, how has your Mini been before it got nailed? Was it dependable? Did it have probs? Yeah, I'm still in the learning how to cook and season veggies, and I'm finding that my favorite way is just to steam them. Just straight up steam them. I don't know if you remember this, Mike, but what is his name? A blonde German looking dude that did environment concept art at Avalanche. He would bring in a rice cooker and we'd all eat with like Diesta and those guys. And so I kind of learned how to cook steamed veggies in a rice cooker, because sometimes they have a little basket on the top that you can dump a bunch of veggies into, and they come out perfect every time. You just put some water in the bottom and let them steam and go do something else for a while and come back and boom, veggies. You miss out on some with steaming. Steaming just like steams them. Your fiber doesn't go anywhere. Fiber is what the veggie's made out of, right? I mean, you might lose a tiny bit of the nutrients, but your other options are like eat a hamburger. You know what I mean? So if you're losing a few of the nutrients by steaming, I don't think it breaks it down. I think frying does, but not steaming. I mean, who am I to argue with that? I don't know, but I wouldn't think so. You're just putting it in hot water. That's not even water, it's just steam. So it's just making the veggies soft, right? Like if you physically think about what happens when you steam something, it's like the same, but it's hot and softer. But I don't know. Yeah, I could be wrong. Do not know. But I like them, because to me it feels like it touches them, it affects them the least if you do it that way. Yeah, I mean, with heat, I guess you're breaking it down with, it's not raw. I mean, the best you can do is raw, and you know, I try to eat them raw as much as possible, but you also have to like it. You know, if you're gonna train yourself to eat this way, you're gonna want to try and figure out ways that your taste buds will enjoy it more. That way you'll tend to eat it more. Oh, thanks. I think it's starting to get better, but all right. Yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of the same debate with an electric bike, right? Because people are like, don't buy an electric bike because you're not going to get the exercise that you want. And my argument with that is, if it's going to get you out and on the road and biking because it's fun versus not, then you're going to get way more exercise from it because you're going to enjoy it more. It's going to let you go a lot further. Yes, I have an electric mountain bike. A pedal assist one, not a push the button and go one. Anyway, it's kind of like that. So, and that's kind of a philosophy of some of the plant-based doctors out there, is you can do a little sugar, a little salt at the end if it's going to get you eating your veggies, right? It's like it's going to let you take your medicine or whatever because you're going to enjoy it. There you go. Yeah, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. There you go. Okay. So let's duplicate this. Actually, what I want to try and do, and I know it's going to destroy it, is I was thinking about ZRemeshing this, but I don't know if I want to do that or just try and curl it. This looks like one of those rocket popsicles. Did you know it's not the best to eat raw? It's just a set amount of nutrients, but cooking brings out other nutrients. Yes. See example, cooked carrots versus raw. Both are good for different reasons. End of the day, some veggies better than none. Yes. Whatever gets you to eat those suckers, that's what you do. You just don't want to cake them and coat them in sugar and salt if you hate them, because it's gonna. That's the thing that's gonna not. It's gonna negate the benefits the most, in my opinion. Okay. Hey, creative, how you doing? It's been a while. Welcome. Okay. Ugh. Sorry, I gotta stretch for a second. Ugh. Raw carrots hurt my feelings. They're so boring. Steaming them, putting them in soups. I like juicing carrots, especially with like an orange. Pretty good. Okay, let me duplicate this again. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Let's get this lined up. And I'm going to turn on symmetry. Here we go. Bend curve deformer. Okay, so this bend curve deformer, I think I might aim this down just a little bit more so it points at that tip. I don't know if it'll work. See this arrow? I'm trying to get it to point, and I don't know if that's going to work, but we'll try it. Ah, closer. See, this point is almost at the tip, which is good. Ever tried Japanese hot pot? Yeah, it's good. I think that's probably my favorite cooking method. I like that, and I like pho, like pho, the Vietnamese soup. I like ramen, all that kind of stuff. Okay, curve resolution. So if I crank this up, you'll see it adds more of these orange dots. And you can always go, see, then I can start to curve it like this. Super fun. Okay, let's bring this back out. Let's look at it from this side. And you can keep adding resolution as you go. I guess this is destroying all the hair tips that I just did, but that's okay. And what's cool about this is you can add more resolution as you go. So you can see I only have 3 dots. If I pull in this orange handle, I can add more. And now I can start to, it looks like soft serve ice cream now. Just kind of push these dots down, like kind of down, down the length of the beard. So I have more resolution up here. I wish I could twist it. I can twist it like this, but I can't like twist it this way. See, I want it to go all the way around. So what I have to do is I have to pull this around. It's so much like soft serve ice cream. Makes me laugh. Okay, let's try more resolution. Not that much more. There we go. Okay. Now, you'll see every time I click on one of these points, it gives me more handles on that point. So you'll notice, see, this has a lot of volume till it gets about right here. Some of these look like they're getting cut off, and then this gets wispy at the end. And mine looks like soft serve ice cream. So I want to kind of reduce the volume as it goes down. You'll see if you hover over one of these, you get twist, which I showed you, you get scale, and you get squeeze. So squeeze will essentially scale it on one direction or another, and scale does a uniform scale. So I'm going to start down here and just kind of scale these down a little bit to kind of reduce the volume. I'm just going to shrink it on down, go back and forth. So something like this, and I want to stay kind of uniform as it comes through here. Let's see. I love the features in the Gizmo. I get why old schoolers still use the old way drawing. I think you're talking about the transpose line, but the new one's so great. I agree, Cricket. So sometimes I'll use the transpose line for very specific instances. The main one is like if I want to add a curve to an object, it's really easy to use the transpose line. And the second one is to pose my character with, because it's like a temporary bone that I can move around and pose arms and things with. So yeah, I use it for both those reasons. But okay, I want to pull this back a little bit, kind of stick it to the surface and get those carved, sculpted hairs back a little bit. Let's see. Do you have to not have to retopologize as much if you block out the shapes first? No. So whether you have to retopologize or not is determined by your end goal, where you're going to take your character. If you're going to take it to a game or film, you're going to have to retopologize no matter what. So let's see. Bridges ZBrush with other. What are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about the Gizmo being like this, like the transpose or the manipulators in like Max and Maya. Yeah, it's very, very similar. I couldn't get used to the transpose line at all. Yep. So, dude, James, the thing with me, I just got done recording my entire course, my 3D character workshop. When I first launched it, I recorded the entire thing with the transpose line. And like, I swear, like a month later, they come out with the Gizmo. And I'm just like, yeah. Let's see. What do you mean make curves? Can we see? I don't know what you're talking about, Ashley. Did I say make curves with something? I apologize if I don't know what that means. So this is just using the curve modifier, the curve arc modifier within the Gizmo. Oh, using the transpose. Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah, let me just show you with this ruler. So this is my ruler. I also give this away with my user interface, and you can go get that over at my website. But okay, so this ruler, if I have my Gizmo, I'm going to put it at the bottom, which is, I just snapped it to home. So it goes home. That's where it is. And then, so if I change this to the transpose line like this, transpose line has these little, see this Y and X? I can click on Y and it'll put the transpose line straight up. So you can see it. Now I can drag it. And what I'll do is I'll drag it up past the ruler. Ashley, there's another Ashley. You're going to have to fight. There can be only one. It's like that other Shane that was in here. I don't know if he still is, but you got to fight. Okay. So, so now that I have the transpose line going all the way through the ruler, what you can do is you can grab, if you hit W for move, or you can hit this up here, move W, and then you hover over this. There's a white circle in the center. Okay. Here, let's look at it from the side so I can show you. And if I just move it, it's just going to move it like this. But if I hold down Alt and hit move, it's going to bend it like this, like a wow, 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 like a saw that you're trying to make a song with. Okay, you can bend it and do all sorts of things. And it works like a bell curve. So that's why I like to drag the transpose line past it. So yeah, there's a twirl brush. Okay. Yeah, this ruler, the only reason I really have a ruler that I've made is to help me with 3D printing. And I work in millimeters in my 3D print with my 3D printers, and you'll see this ruler is in centimeters/millimeters, and it's also lined up to the background grid. This project is very, very specific to me and my workflow, but I also give it away to anybody who wants it. You can go get it on my website. So, and also with the transpose line, if you'll notice these tick marks, see these little tick marks? They are lined up with the centimeters. So if you go into preferences and go to transpose units, you can scale these units up to 100. So where it says unit scale to 100, now you can, I can go into a lot more detail to actually get this in millimeters and have it read millimeters up here. But for now, just know that you can scale these, and then now each of these are a millimeter. So if you have a 3D print and you're trying to measure the thickness of it, you can use this transpose line and actually measure how thick something is with this transpose line. So anyway, okay. Would you use this method for text? No, Ashley, I would use the bend modifiers for text. So the bend method with the transpose line, I will only use that for very, very quick bends. Just if I want to just put a bend in something that's really nice and even very quickly, I'll just use that transpose method because I know how to do it and it's fast. Otherwise, I will typically go to the regular Gizmo like this. Here, I'll reset it, send it back home, reset it. And now if I come in here, there's all of these like bend arc, bend curve, bevel. So I can click on this bend arc, and it's kind of difficult to see, but it puts this bounding box around here. Like so, I think it had symmetry on, so it's only putting it around half of it. Let me undo that. And no, there's not symmetry. Maybe there was. Let me try it again. No. Bend arc. No. Oh, maybe it just sticks it down the center and I can't see the bounding box over here. But if you hover over these, it will tell you like the amount that it's doing everything. Let's see. I'm trying to remember twist. I don't use this one much. This is just twisting it these different. Oh, that's right. Okay, so you get angle, twist. So you can do this with lettering, and it goes all through all the different things you can do with it. So lettering like this. You can get it to bend this way. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of things you can do with these modifiers. They're a lot of fun to play with. But so I did my logo, my lettering. I made it wrap around the front of a base for a printed base for, yeah, I wanted to wrap the letters around my logo. And so I just used bend deformers to bend it all around it, and it worked great. All right. Let's see. What's up? I'm trying to learn but feel lost. Like, what should I make daily? Do you have any tips for you? That's such a difficult question because it's more about what you want to learn. Like, what are you focused on? What are you trying to learn? That's the first thing you should ask yourself. Daily skulls. Daily skulls that's a great tip. Because then you'll be learning anatomy and how to use ZBrush. That's a great one, Ashley. Thank you. Okay. Anyway, I'll come through, and I like how this little beardy turned out. It's pretty fun. Pretty fun little twisty bits. Yes, hands are great. That's a good thing. But what I was gonna say was like, what are you trying to do with your skills? If you're trying to work in games or in film or toys or whatever you want, or if you're gonna do realistic versus stylized, or okay. now that I have that in place, I'm going to block out his neck. That only took an hour and a half for his beard. It was totally worth it. And honestly, what I would do and what I have done in the past is I've made a Pinterest page of just inspiring concept art that I would love to sculpt someday, right? And a piece of advice to go along with that is don't start with your favorite character, the first character you do, because then you'll instantly disappoint yourself and you'll be distraught and sad and never want to work with 3D again. That's happened to student after student over and over again. And I have to like put this huge disclaimer, you know, in my, when I'm talking about picking concepts for my students, saying, don't start with your most favorite character ever. That will come. You know, start with just a character that you're interested in. Like for me, this devil, I just loved his face shapes. So I'm like, that looks like fun. So that's why I decided to model this guy. Hey Cricket, I don't know if I would agree with you there. Because what is AAA? Like Ratchet and Clank's a AAA game. That's not realistic. Overwatch, I would say, is a AAA game. That's not realistic. Let's see. Split. I would say, you know, learn, kind of focus on the things that you're interested in. James. Okay. This guy's neck is crazy. Maybe try move elastic. Oh, Cricket. Yeah, I can see where the air got let out of your sails a little bit with those companies. Yeah, that also, it depends on which companies are in your local area too, right? I was super lucky that Disney kind of came to me. I was already here. They just bought a local game company and then I got a job with them. Making Conquer, nice. I'm gonna stick these ears out more. So the good news though, Cricket, is that the good thing, if there's any good thing to come from this stupid pandemic, is companies have realized, oh my gosh, we can work remote. Holy crap, and it works. So and some companies are like, hey, if we have a remote team, we don't have to have an office. So they can hire people that live anywhere. And it's happening all over the place. If you have one piece of geometry overlapping on itself, like two fingers, is there a way to mask just one finger out? If it's blocked out, there is, but if they're combined, then you kind of have to do, I don't have an example. Here, let me see if I can give you a quick example of how to do it. You can do it with polygroups. Yep, your skill has to be high enough in order for companies to want to hire you, of course. Well, the horn, so my devil, all of the pieces are in separate subtools. So but I think he's asking if you have a hand and you have two fingers or multiple fingers and they're crossing each other, inside of a single subtool, how do you unmask something? So let me just, this will take me 2 seconds, not too long. I'll just make a couple of these and turn off symmetry, auto groups. Okay. So let's say these are, oops. This is going to be the dumbest looking thing ever, but just to illustrate my point. Like say you just have 2 things overlapped like this, right? And pretend they're merged with this, whatever this is down here, the palm, okay? So there's, if you do have them in separate groups, you can hold down Control and tap on that group and just isolate mask that one group, okay? So if you want to like make a group where none exists, so say this was all the same poly group, what you can do, there's a couple things you can do, but you can hold down Control and tap and drag down an appendage like this, okay, and just kind of rotate and move it. And basically what it'll do, or that should have done, is mask down that appendage like this, and you let go, and then it does something like this, okay? Then if you hold down Control and tap on the background and invert that mask, you can then hit Control W, and it'll put that mask in a group, okay? And I can do that on the other finger over here. Just kind of line it up, invert that mask, Control W, and that's how you can make new polygroups, okay? Now with these polygroups, I can hold down Control and click on this one, and then I can move it out away from this other finger, like undo this, right? And then I can do like this one, just kind of move it back away, and that's how you can control and just move and manipulate objects that are overlapping each other. So I hope that makes sense. It wasn't the prettiest example, but it was fast. Okay. Yeah, do what makes you happy. Don't do what you think the industry wants, okay? Don't do what you think the industry wants. That's the bad way to go. Do it because it feels right, and that's what you should be doing. I was an animator for 5 years. I was going down the animation path, and I switched gears back to modeling because I found that when I was done animating for the day, I would go home and model characters because I loved doing it. I loved to make concept art come to life. I love designing it. The big challenge for me is to see a concept like this, for example, and see if I can pull it off. That to me is like, put the flag in the sand, challenge accepted, right? I love that. And that is what drives me and keeps me going. And that's why I love character concepts like this that have extreme, really cool shapes, because I want to be challenged to see if I can pull it off. That's my whole thing. So, Tom, how do I retire full time? That's about the caliber of the questions today, huh? That's good. Is this better or doing group by normals better? There's no better. It's the grouping, using poly grouping, there are so many different ways you can poly group your stuff. Just think about poly groups as a temporary selection set. That's all it is. So it depends on what you need those poly groups to do. That's how you set up your poly groups, and that's how you use them afterwards. So if I want to bend a finger, sometimes I'll set up different poly groups all the way down the finger so I can select and bend it easier. But if I don't need to bend them, then I don't need those poly groups. So it's all a matter of what you're looking to do. It's a helper. It's a tool. Okay. How to make money with ZBrush. All I use mouse after I use tablet. Now I can't use it. So, Ahmed, I'm going to say, and I say this often, so forgive me if I repeat myself, everyone, but I would absolutely 100% suggest against sculpting with a mouse. And the reason why is because a mouse has a button, one click, and either it's on or it's off. You don't get any in between. It's like playing a game with only a D-pad and not an analog stick. Okay, an analog stick gets you a whole bunch of in between 0 and 100, right? A whole bunch of subtlety between the two. The D-pad is just either 0 or 100, the direction. So what I'm trying to say is a tablet will give you subtle sculpting, so you can feather lines from 100 down to 0. You can feather them. You can't do that with a mouse. It's like like Neil said, it's like driving a car with a toggle switch instead of a gas pedal, right? If you go up, it's full gas. If you go down, it's full stop. You can't really drive a car that way. So you can't really sculpt with a mouse because you can't really sculpt that way. Unless you're just doing things that you don't need pressure for. So if all you have is a mouse, you're going to spend a lot of time moving the Z intensity around up here. You're going to spend a lot of time moving that slider to get the, yeah, for moving and rotating, for things that you don't need pressure sensitivity for, a mouse is just fine. Like retopology for me, I use a mouse, right? Unless I'm drawing or unless I need pressure. If I don't need pressure, you don't need a, yeah, it's just when you're like, if you were going to try and sculpt this beard with a mouse, oh my gosh, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. So anyway, that's my advice. Dynamic asking about NFTs. I don't really have much to say about NFTs because I don't know much about them. Oh my gosh, Ashley, that would be crazy. Oh, I would be crying on the floor in a fetal position at the end of it. Sucking my thumb. I'd be sucking on my Wacom pen. Don't ever leave me again. Okay. Yeah, 1992 mouse. You know, I did have my old Wacom tablet for a long time. If Mike May is still here, I'm sure he remembers it. It's like I'm sure he had one too. It was like an off, when computers first came out, I don't know why, but they colored them as if they were like some ugly piece of furniture, like an off-white. They were like a cream color. And the Wacom tablets, the first Wacom tablets, were like this weird cream color, just ugly things. And I'm so glad they're like this dark gray black now, like Batman. I only work in black. Okay. I am gonna give him some gums and then some teeth. What? I think I got lost in the conversation. How to stop handshaking when I don't know what that means. The rubber steel ball. Where all the lint would get all caught up inside there. Oh gosh. Or the apple mice with one button. That's all you get. Oh gosh. One button. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go rogue and I'm gonna do the teeth first. Kind of weird that I'm the only really comfortable with tablets with ZBrush. Any other software, I feel like I'm drawing. I feel blindfolded. No, I love my iPad for drawing. It's super cool. Like I love the Apple Pencil. Love it. So I use it for certain things, certain times. I get that I shouldn't follow industry, but what about if I need to apply to jobs? Internet advice says make work similar to the job you apply for. If I'm only working on stuff that makes me happy, could I still be hired based on skill, even if the content is completely unrelated? Hope I'm explaining my question. So my advice for that, Squiggly, is it depends on how far off. Again, like I was talking about earlier in the stream, you need to show the company that you can do the work that they need you to do, period. That's all there is to it. There's no, and if they can't figure out, they can't decide if you would be able to do the work they need you to do based on your portfolio, it's as simple as that. You know, I don't know how to simplify it any more than that. So if, you know, say if you were applying for a AAA realistic game job and all you had in your portfolio was cartoon characters, they would be like, but can he texture? I don't know. It's not in his portfolio, so I don't know. So I think we're going to pass on this person. Does that make sense? So you need to be able to show you can do the work they need you to do. One example that I had is, you know, sometimes they will, if your work is good enough, they'll give you a shot. And back in the day, Sucker Punch, the company behind like Sly Cooper and Infamous, and what's the new? I keep wanting to say Sekiro, but it's not Sekiro because that's From Software's version of the Samurai. The other one, anyway, fantastic company, fantastic place. They're located in Bellevue, Washington, and there was an art test, and they were asking for environment artists. But at the time, I was a huge Sly Cooper fan. I played through that thing twice, full through twice, because I love the animations, I love the characters, and my portfolio was full of stylized characters and stylized character animations. So because I was kind of riding that line between animation and stylized characters, but they were hiring for an environment job. But to me, I was like, well, their environments are so fun and so twisted, and you know, that I feel like, and I know how to model, I could model those things and I can show them that I can do the job. So I applied, they gave me the art test. I did the art test. What I hate to say nailed it, but I nailed the art test, and the only reason I can say that is because they told me that I did enough to fly me up to Bellevue for an interview. Even though, yeah, thank you, Ghost of Tsushima. So they flew me up to Bellevue for an interview, and that's cost, that's time out of people's day. So they were giving me the, you know, saying an opportunity, saying basically your art test was good enough, even though your portfolio doesn't have any environment work in it, your skills are good enough that we'll give you a chance. But unfortunately, when I got up there and I interviewed, and they interviewed me, they were just like, well, can you do, like, how much do you like environments? And they're just sitting there staring at my, you know, my stylized cartoon portfolio of characters. And I'm like, and I just kept saying, well, I like Sly Cooper's environments a lot. And in their head, I didn't know it at the time, but in their head, they're thinking, yeah, we're moving away from Sly Cooper and we're going to start working on Infamous. And so they turned me down for the job because I couldn't show realistic environment textures. I just had the stylized cartoony environment down. And so they passed on me. But they will, the point of the story is there is a possibility they'll give you a chance if you can prove to them that you can do the work that they need you to do. There's nothing more I can say about that. There you go. Okay, so Ashley, not A cubed, but the other Ashley, you were asking about the twisty bendy thing. So I want to bend this tooth really quick. I could do it with the arc bend curve deformer, but I don't need to go into that much depth. I just needed to curve it a little bit. So I'm going to turn off the gizmo and grab this transpose line, drag it out like this, grab W, hold down Alt, and just bend this tooth. Whoops, I don't know why it didn't bend. Oh, okay, it's part, no, it should still bend. Maybe I let go too soon. Okay. anyway, I just wanted to bend this tooth kind of backwards and then inwards. See how easy that is? It's just like, boop, bent. Easy. Do you add teeth and then build the gums? Ben, it just depends on, I look at it and I would go, okay, what do I want to build first? For this one, since the tips are the teeth of the teeth are what I care about the most, and the gums not so much because I can't see them as much, I'm going to build the teeth first and then the gums, but it's different every time, I think. So I don't know if that answers you guys' questions. End of the day, you're an artist in a catalog of artists, and the directors will be picking what they believe will fit best. Yeah. So the more skills you have, the more they'll look at you going, oh, this person has a lot of value, right? Even if you're hyper-fixated on a style for a company, they may choose another artist over you anyway who didn't hyper-focus on the style because of a slew of different reasons. Like, yeah, like if you're not a jerk, if you're a nicer person, or, you know, if you just gel with the team better. But first, before the whole personality thing kicks in, because you have to show your abilities up front. Otherwise, they're not going to give you that chance, right? So that's why they flew me to Bellevue too, to see what skills I had and if I gelled with the team. So yeah, that's super good advice. So yeah, end of the day, focus on what you like. Squiggly, for sure. Yeah, that's great advice. Big Sesh. Okay. First PC was a Windows 98 machine. I think mine was a DOS machine. Oh, I'm not trying to one up you. I'm just trying to go, holy crap, I'm old. Back in my day. And we liked it. Okay. So every time I do a really sharp tooth like this, and then I see the rest of his mouth is not full of sharp teeth, well, the upper rows are, but this bottom row is kind of this rough and clunky and squared off teeth. Sometimes I think, well, should I just rebuild a new tooth or duplicate this one and squish it into where I need it? Oh yeah, Apple IIc, that was around the same time, or like a Commodore 64, a Texas Instruments, if you remember those things. Apple IIe, and what's the, yeah, you said Apple IIe. There's I was thinking the Atari something or other. Yeah, those were all the winners. Amiga? Well, yeah, I had my first computer ever was a Commodore 128. I paid off with my, when I was 12-year-old, when I was 12, I worked at a supermarket mopping floors and stocking soda, like soda machine, not soda machines, but soda freezers, refrigerators. Yeah. At a convenience store. And I think I made like $2 an hour or something like that. Atari 800. Almost, I can't even remember what the minimum wage was in early 80s. I love these teeth. It looks like old man devil teeth. He's like, listen here, this is what you're gonna do. The tape. My friend had a tape drive for his Atari or a Commodore VIC 20. That was even less than a Commodore 64. The VIC 20. Oh, I totally forgot about that thing. Oh, Mike, you're still here. The art pad too. I remember that. Do you remember? Yeah, you probably. I was thinking you probably had the same one. Like when we worked at Sapphire, we all had the same. Yeah, Zork plus Ultima. Yeah, I didn't play Zork. I played Ultima. I mean, I played Zork a little. My favorite game was an old game called Legacy of the Ancients on Commodore. I used to play that with my dad a lot. Sinclair? I have not. I don't know what that is. That's you got me there. Oh yeah, the Texas Instruments calculators. Yep. What was the Radio Shack computer, the Tandy? You guys remember that? The Tandy computer. Okay, this is I don't know why this is so high resolution. I'm gonna Reese. 3 cables, at least 2. Yeah, one for the power. Yep, another dongle, and whatever the USB. Yeah, it was like the little connector with the screws. You had to screw it into the back of your PC. Oh man. Oh, thanks, Phil. I appreciate it. You know, even more importantly, I feel amazing. Seriously, I feel like I'm like 20 something again. And it's that saying you don't know what you have until it's gone. And that actually goes the same for weight, right? I was carrying around an extra 75 pounds. And now that it's gone, I'm like lighter and more mobile and I can do stuff. It's yeah, it's nuts, man. I just turned 50. So I just turned 50 in last August. So I'm 50 years old, old guy. And I was feeling 50 and not because of my age, but because of my weight. Seriously. And I lost I went whole food plant-based and lost 45 pounds in about a year and a half, kind of slow. And then I did and then I did another and I lost another 30 pounds. But I'm back up. So I've lost like 65 total now. So many boomers and shit. Yeah. James, you're like, no, all these people talking about Commodore and oh man. It's my peeps. Sorry, James. Oh, too funny. I like reminiscing about old tech. My first tablet was a Wacom Intuos 3. Wasn't that like last year? I'm just teasing you. Ashley, oh goodness. It's more like making fun of myself. I'm so old I first drew with crayon. Not eye crayon. Okay, I'm trying to do okay, let's do this. ZRemesher, it's there we go. Oh, I didn't hit keep groups. Not that it matters. There we go. Yes. Yeah, we're not boomers. That's older than us, man. We start with modeling and eventually I've seen people move to sculpting mode. I'm trying to understand what's more efficient. Okay, Ravi, I can hopefully help you um kind of discern the difference between modeling and sculpting to me, okay? To me, modeling is more like traditional moving points, extruding faces, moving edges. Um, that's like traditional digital modeling. Like it's kind of like doing hard surface modeling in ZBrush or in Maya Max, and that's how I modeled characters for the first oh gosh, like 16 years of my career maybe. And then the last 5 or 6 years, I was introduced to digital sculpting, and basically before like the transition between modeling and sculpting, there was this soft select, it was called, and it still is called soft select. And it's where you can select one point, one vertice on your surface, but it will affect a whole group of vertices as they fall off in all different directions. And you can move all those vertices around in a very controlled way. And to me, that was a lot closer to digital sculpting. And then with the advent of ZBrush, it made it so you could subdivide the geometry up so high that you can now not only move points all together with a fall off that way, but you can use other brushes like chisel brushes and detail brushes and basically clay buildup and all these brushes down here that you didn't get access to when you were working in such low resolution that you don't really have access to sculpting tools. You're just modeling. So that's the biggest difference. So what happens to the mesh? It depends on what you do to it, right? Like for example, the teeth right here. I mean, I don't have enough time to go into a really deep explanation of everything. This is more of a high level explanation, but it basically makes it so you don't care about the mesh anymore because you're sculpting. So when I remeshed this, these teeth, they were too high of density for me. So I remeshed them just to give me a better surface to model on. Okay, so when the only time I'm going to care about the geometry is at the very, very end before I take it to either a game or film or something where I actually need to use the mesh for something other than sculpting. Okay, so eventually I'll take it out of ZBrush and retopologize it and do stuff out, or bake maps or make displacement maps. You know, there's a whole bunch of different things you can do with it. But inside of ZBrush, I'm mostly sculpting, and so I'm not caring about what the mesh looks like, honestly. I'm just caring about what the surface looks like. I'm sculpting just like I'm sculpting in clay. So hopefully that clears it up a little bit. Can you work on parts? Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. So you can see it lighting up with white. These are the parts I'm selecting. So anyway, but I am out of time. So I didn't get as far as I would have liked to. I was talking a lot and having fun and answering a lot of questions. So I hope you enjoyed today's session, but that is it. And thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with me today. Thank you, Neil, for all the links. Thanks for hanging out. Ashley, if you guys want to catch Accu-curve, she streams on Wednesday nights. Can you pop up your time? What is it? Pacific time. I can never remember, like 7 p.m. or 6. So, and then thank you, and thanks, Mike. It's good to see you again, even in chat. Good friend of mine, Mike. So miss you, buddy. So anyway, and thank you everybody for hanging out. 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Oh, great. Okay, thanks. So, and then the last thing, if you want my user interface and these brushes, you can get them for free over on my website, 3dcharacterworkshop.com. And you just sign up with your email address, and I don't really send emails out very often, but once in a while I'll have a promotion or something like that on my course, and I'll send you emails that way. So, or if I have any interesting I'm thinking about doing a YouTube channel soon, and I'd really like to get some feedback on what kind of videos you'd like to see that way. So anyway, guys, take care. Have a grand week, and I will catch you next Monday. All right. Till then, I'm out.